Let's get to Texas Democratic legislators flee the state to protest GOP's redistricting plan. They are avoiding the state because they don't want to get arrested or forcibly brought back into Congress so that they have quorum so that they cannot push forward with this redistricting plan.
Right now, Texas Republicans hold 25 of the state's 38 seats in the House of Representatives, but the redrawn map would give the GOP an advantage in at least 5 more seats.
Yeah, Texas Dems just broke quorum 30 minutes ago, and House GOP has voted for arrests. So if there's no quorum, they can't push in the state legislature this new redistricting map. That's why the Democrats escaped the state. They left the state so that they're absentee and that the state legislature can't have quorum. And now they are possibly going to get apprehended. Can they arrest though? Why arrest? Because it's like you can vote to force to have them come back. I mean, I assume Trump will go along with it because this is his agenda. It's ironic because like what Trump is doing and the Texas Republicans are doing to begin with is like completely fraudulent. And the only counter that I've seen is from like, I hate to give him credit for this, but it's Gavin Newsom who said, okay, well, I have enough votes to redistrict California to farm as many seats as I possibly want. And he's right. Yeah, it's really, really illegal. I mean, is it though? What is really illegal now? Legality is determined by enforcement. Legality is determined by political willing. Illegal and legal is a meaningless term at this point. Under the second Trump administration, what's legal is whatever the Trump wants, and what's illegal is whatever the Trump doesn't want. When you think about it, legality is fluid now, so woke. Yeah, I'm in favor of fighting fire with fire. There's not really anything you can do about it. Like, what are you supposed to do? This, of course, is a worse representation overall for districts that have a lot of black and brown Democrat voters, districts that have a lot of black and brown people in general. Because redistricting for the Republican side is almost always conducted on neighborhoods that have black people, like just separating areas where there is like a big population of black people into other white majority neighborhoods in an effort to make sure that you have more Republican seats, like easy Republican locks. And Texas already has a ton of redistricting, by the way. A lot of Democrats do it too, is the counter usually. Like, oh, well, Democrats do redistricting as well. But it's like, it's nothing in comparison to the amount of gerrymandering that the Republican Party has done all around the country. There are states in this nation where Democrats can win the majority vote. It's basically like a little electoral college in each individual state. There are states where Democrats win the majority by like a big margin, and then Republicans still maintain majority, like in Wisconsin. Democrats win the majority vote because of the way that the district lines are drawn in the state of Wisconsin. They still have majority in the House and the Senate, like state legislature. It's crazy. But what's interesting about this is that given that the population centers are urban, and because of the diverse environment in population centers, heavily leaning in the direction of Democrats, if Democrats wanted to, there are far more areas that they could chop up to fight against this in like blue states, in blue neighborhoods, and just like straight up redistrict it as aggressively as possible. Except they probably won't do that. Gavin Newsom is a fake demon. He really is. He really is. Even in a bad year for CA Dems, you can create a 52D 0R map with no seat being less than Harris plus 10. Would probably eliminate 9 Republicans. If you're willing to create 1-2 GOP vote sinks, you can create a map with no seat less than Harris plus 14. It's true. If the Republicans want to carve out 5 additional seats for themselves, then Democrats can carve out 10. Okay? Now, he threw the eye emoji on this, but again, you're right. He's a fake demon. He should do this. YOLO. Fight fire with fire, baby. Come on. Be the gruesome governor that you are, okay? Political HQ says breaking. California's proposed congressional maps are almost ready and were discussed during a Zoom call last night with state and federal legislators. Look, man, I'm done. I'm done with the whole like, oh, if we do it, Republicans are going to do it too. It's like Republicans are doing it and they never stop doing it. So you might as well do it anyway. That's why I was a big advocate for packing the courts when Joe Brandon was in charge and abolishing the 9-person Supreme Court, or at least like adding additional courts to the Supreme Court, adding additional justices to the Supreme Court. It. Oh, well, Republicans will then add more. Okay, have 1 million Supreme Court justices. I don't care. Just win and also enact an agenda. That's what the Republicans do. They don't care. They the board every time. They say the rules. I am just going to do what I said I was going to do, and I guess do right by my constituents. Ironically enough, when their legislative agenda bears itself out, it's always negative, and the voters themselves experience the backlash. They don't like it when it's implemented. They love it when they're voting for it. They hate it when it's implemented in their neighborhood. For me, I just don't care if they're breaking the rules all the time anyway in the direction of change for their own legislative agenda, for their own policies. Then Democrats should do the same. It's so dumb. The inverse of that is the Democrats don't do anything, and then the Republicans literally just rewrite the rules every day. It's trickier in California because they can't pass them with the state legislature like in Texas. It needs to be approved by an independent commission. Newsom's threat seems a bit empty. He said he could get it via referendum, but I don't know if that will work out. I think it would. I think it would actually give him great popularity as a national Democratic figure too. Gavin Newsom's major problem in California is public transit and the housing market. If Gavin Newsom solved the housing market issue, that is literally like 90% of all the enmity directed towards him, all the animosity directed towards him, for good reason, by the way. Hasan silently wanting Newsom to be pres? No, I despise him. I think he's a demon. He sucks, okay? For what I just described to you. Gavin Newsom is decent when it comes to like sticking his neck out for rehabilitative approaches to criminal justice, even though California still has a very long way to go. But Gavin Newsom is dog shit when it comes to offering healthcare, zero-cost healthcare to Californians. Gavin Newsom is dog when it comes to, most importantly, the housing market. He is completely beholden to real estate developers and homeowners associations and like landlords in general, and refuses to increase the housing supply as is necessary and take initiative on this issue, which creates a ton of homeless people, which then translates back to people thinking that there is crime that's out of control in the state.
Now, in a statement overnight, the Texas Republican Party calls the Democrats, quote, stunt to cut quorum, nothing more than a transparent attempt to weaponize chaos and rewrite reality.
Yeah, but what you guys are doing, which is a transparent attempt to go against the democratic process and to just basically openly, at the direction of Trump, an unpopular president, try to create more seats for Donald Trump, knowing full well that you're going to get clobbered potentially. They might not even get clobbered in the midterms, and try to use what remains of your power to basically redraw district lines so you can just farm out more seats for your party. That's not chaotic. That's not illegal. It's illegal when the Democrats are like using the only option in the state to try and delay this process.
So they're leaving, and they've left because they're very un-Texan. Texans don't run from a fight, and there's a fight going on in the legislature right now about redistricting as well as other things. But I'll make two quick points, Dana, about this. For one, to run to states like New York and Illinois to protest redistricting is kind of like running to Wisconsin to protest cheese. It's just kind of outrageous. Those are New York and Illinois are two hallmark states that have already done redistricting to eliminate Republicans. But the second thing is far more serious, and that is what these Democrats have done.
Yeah, Greg Abbott can't run from a fight. He has to wheel away.
Just a small fraction of them were needed to break a quorum, and that small fraction is holding hostage legislation in the state of Texas, where we will be able to provide assistance and reform for all of the victims of that horrific flooding that we've had in the state of Texas. Our fellow Texans are being let down and not getting the flood relief they need because these Democrats have absconded from the responsibility, and I believe they have forfeited their seats in the state legislature because they're not doing the job they were elected.
Yeah. Be like our beautiful congresspersons. Run away when there's a natural disaster taking place. Why are you deliberately escaping the state so we can't arrest you and apprehend you and force you back to sit there and implement quorum so we can draw redistricting lines? Why don't you just flee the state like our good old boys, Ted Theodore Edward Raphael Cruz, whenever there's a natural disaster happening, okay? That's what you're supposed to do. That's the Texan way. Dallas County has itself 3 out of its 6 congressional districts represented by GOP, despite Dallas County voting 60% and above for Democrat POTUS nominee and overwhelming voting Democrat for other offices. I mean, look at Dan Crenshaw's district if you want to understand how psychotic redistricting already is in the state of Texas.
First, for redistricting purposes, it's not done for racial reasons. However, The racial outcome is this, and that is the district lines will solidify the Barbara Jordan African American district in the Houston area, and it will add.
You know what's really funny about this, by the way? Yeah, like you look at this stuff and you're like, well, you know, look at the current Texas districts, and it's like the little blue dots there are some of the areas with the highest density of population. So, like, obviously, when you look at a map like this, you're like, whoa, wow, Texas seems real red. And it's like, yeah, there's like 11 people living here, okay? There's not a lot going on in many of these big swaths of land.
4 new Hispanic districts. And so there's actually going to be more racial minority districts in the state of Texas. Why now? 2 reasons. One is since
we want more seats.
we last did redistricting, there's been a change in law.
We also don't want black people to get across their wishes. That's it. Simply put, we are hateful people. We do not like black people being able to have their wishes and have their concerns be addressed by representatives. And let me tell you why. Have you ever heard of Juneteenth? We have a proud tradition of refusing to allow black people to be free. That's why Juneteenth happened. It happened in my state. Long, proud tradition of slavers coming here and refusing to recognize that slavery had been abolished. We're not too fond of letting people get any kind of representation whatsoever.
A court decision affecting Texas came out and said that coalition districts are no longer required, and it's perfectly legal to dismantle coalition districts. The second is gerrymandering can be done, or drawing lines can be done, on the basis of political makeup. As in Republican versus Democrat, and there's nothing illegal about that. And then when you look at the outcome of the most recent president.
Why is he trying to even defend this? I mean, honestly, you're not wrong for asking that question. Like, who is this for is the real question. Like, you're on Fox News, bro. They know why you're doing it, and they like it. You know what I mean? But I guess they are admitting it, kind of. Yeah, he's just openly saying they're gerrymandering and trying to make sure for political purposes we want more power. Who doesn't like power? What power specifically? Okay, the kind of power I'm talking about. Well, Dana, it's because we're racist. That's why we don't want any sort of proportional representation to take place in this goddamn state. And we don't like demon rats. Okay, they're bad. They want homosexuality. They want abortion. They want abortions galore. They want free health care. That's communism. And worst of all, some of these demon rats, let me tell you, and I hate to say this as a Texan man who obviously puts America first, some of them want to do away with the loyalty pledges to the state of Israel. Have you heard? They want to do away. That's anti-Semitism.
You said in addition to abandoning their offices, these legislators may also have committed felonies. What is the felony? What are the penalties for this?
So very simply, it would be bribery if any lawmaker took money to perform or to refuse to perform an act in the legislature. And the reports are these legislators have been both, they sought money and they offered money to...
Bro, he's not even convincing. That's crazy. I'm not even convinced he believes this. And he so doesn't believe it that he can't even say it outright. I've decided it's actually bribery and maybe even homicide, as a matter of fact. It's like killing the legislative session, and it's cancel culture and homicide. That's what these guys are doing, and they're doing death. It's terrorism.
Skip the vote to leave the legislature to take a legislative act. That would be bribery. And so the facts will have to come out. But I think based upon...
The facts will have to come out. Yeah. Like you guys give a about the facts, dude. The governor has mentioned something about bribery. Ultimately, he's up to local district attorneys. Most of these Democratic district attorneys for these Democrats to prosecute. I think that's an unlikely and small probability.
To delay, to run away. I think last time it was 38 days. They managed to stay out of the state. I believe it's a $500 a day penalty for doing this. So that's a lot of money that they're racking up in fines, not to mention the jets that they took, the private jets that they took. The governor has mentioned something about bribery. What do you make of who's funding this entire, AWOL leisure time for Democrats?
Well, there's a couple ways to find out. I don't know who's funding it, but there's a couple ways. Ultimately,
Ken Paxton talking about bribery is like asking Charles Manson about murder, okay? I guess it takes one to know one, That is the expert opinion that you can get. This is what they're fighting.
The United States Constitution and the Constitution of the great state of Texas absolutely allows us to undergo this type of redistricting effort. So we're doing something that's completely legal, it's completely constitutional, and I am doing everything I can in my power as an elected member of the state of Texas to make sure that the state of Texas does everything in its power to make sure that Republicans hold on to a majority in the United States Congress. It's as simple as that. That's completely legal. It's totally permissible. The United States Supreme Court has said so on multiple occasions. Quite frankly, we should have done this during the regular session and had this in the rearview mirror by now.
Everything is so I don't know what else to say other than everything sucks. The most hardcore version of anti-DEI, literally stealing congressional seats. Yeah, but remember, that's not considered DEI because it's at the behest of white supremacy. It doesn't track with the average person. Even like normies don't understand it as DEI, I don't think. They just think like DEI equals black and brown people. Okay, listen. All I'll say is this. I guess the silver lining here in a weird, twisted way is that means that like elections will happen. Because like it could be worse. Trump could be saying, who cares about redistricting? No elections going forward anyway, you know? So I guess the weird silver lining is that they are concerned about the election, which means that they're looking to have elections still in the country. So there's that kind of. I don't know. We haven't hit like Bukele status yet.